G'day everyone, it's mate @Ronan here coming at you live from Bondi Beach, Sydney, Australia. Hope you've had an amazing weekend. I know I did. Hasn't the weather been so great? I got a lot of stuff to do, hang out with the family, go down the beach and enjoy this weekend for a change. It was nice weather. Anyhow, we've got a really special guest here today joining us. Her name is Marvi Joyce. How are you, Marvi?
I'm very well, thanks, my dad. How are you?
I'm excellent, thank you. It's been a while since we spoke in the
Yes.
last course that we did, and we've been keeping in touch. Looking forward to chopping it up together live
Yep.
on Zoom. Only a couple of weeks ago, I interviewed your business partner,
hmm
Jackie Ashley, and she's been doing some great work. And I'm sure you're going to be talking about that today as well.
Yeah, yeah,
So
absolutely. Absolutely. It's a pleasure to be here.
it's nice to have you here, Marvi. Marvi, can you tell us a little bit about your journey?
My journey, where do I begin with that? If I were to sum it up in, I guess, one sentence, I'd say that my journey is really about learning to listen to my own voice, not one shaped by expectation, but really one shaped by my truth. And I guess that's something that I like to also impart in my clients that I've worked with in the past. So to sort of give you a bit of a story, my idea of my background, I was born in the Philippines, and my earliest memories were of my dad, my biological father. So not big dramatic moments, but it's those simple moments. It's hanging out in his clinic, playing around with his stethoscopes and his things. So he was a doctor, and not he didn't actually work in a big hospital or white coats every day. He was the kind of person that showed up for people who had nothing. And in fact, he had been offered a prestigious role to be a chief doctor at a hospital, but he turned that down, and instead he chose to serve. He chose to actually move my family into one of the remote provinces, and he wanted to help people who couldn't afford basic healthcare. A lot of his patients, I used to hear stories about, how his patients really couldn't afford to pay him, but they paid him with what they had, and a lot of them were farmers or fishermen. So my mom used to tell stories that, she'd open the front door in the morning and see sacks of rice or fish from, the morning's catch, that sort of thing. So we lived simply, and there were no luxuries, but there was always purpose, and there was purpose in my dad's work, and he believed that true wealth isn't really what you own, it's what you give. And I think that's something that has actually been instilled in me. Even though, like, I I was very very young when he did pass away, and it really was the same passion, that same passion that he had for serving others, that eventually cost him his life. So he ended up volunteering for this mission to go into remote mountains. In It was quite a dangerous area, and he wanted to volunteer and help people there, and unfortunately he didn't come home alive. So I was around about 4 years old at that time, but growing up, I would hear these amazing stories about him and how he was so loved by the people in those provinces, those people that had helped him. And I'd hear stories about how he had saved a father, and how he had delivered a child in the middle of the night. That things like that, just amazing stories about, the kind of human being that he was. It really made a profound impact on me growing up. Those stories, it planted something in me, and for years, I guess, I had always just believed, or had this idea, that I wanted to be a doctor. I thought it was a way to honor him, and carry on his legacy. Although life had other plans, my mom remarried, and my stepdad, that's how we came to Australia. So my stepdad, he was an engineer. He also served in the military well before he married my mom. But um, we didn't get along growing up. But uh, he also became a strong influence in my life. Like, he was practical, he was logical. He could look at a problem, and he literally could build something from nothing. And I admired that about him. All the while growing up, I still had this idea that I wanted to be a doctor. And by the time I reached the end of high school, I realized that, well, actually, maybe I didn't really realize. I questioned, is this the right path for me? It was probably later on that I realized I was chasing a legacy and not a life that was truly mine. And so when it came to choose, my path in uni, I thought, okay, I'll stay in the sciences. Maybe I'll still go and become a doctor. I really love science and math growing up in high school. So I still sort of stayed in that area. And somehow I ended up in engineering, and it still felt respectable. It was something that, I thought my family could be proud of. And eventually ended up in the corporate world, and climbing the corporate ladder. And I was passionate about what I did. I was computers with systems, and had a stable job, good salary, a really good clear career path. And it was sort of later on in life, I felt like probably around my 20s, late 20s, that I felt deep down, I felt some sort of disconnection. It wasn't that I was unhappy. I just didn't feel aligned. And, I was achieving, I was doing well. And, like I said, it made my parents proud, but I wasn't feeling that sense of aliveness. I felt like I'd lost a deeper sense of purpose that my dad had lived by, that sense of meaning. And I thought, do I go back to uni? Do I pursue that medical path? And I started delving into, personal development, and things started to shift. I guess I could say that I began my spiritual journey and personal growth, right? So reading lots of books, attending workshops, diving into mindset and energy work. And at first it was just a curiosity, but the more I learned, the more I realized this is what I had been searching for. And, I had trained in neuro-linguistic programming, NLP, hypnotherapy, timeline therapy, and then eventually breath work. And it brought me full circle, because I realized that I could become that type of healer, not in the medical sense, but obviously in the mindset, in energy, that sort of thing, just a different way. And I guess I like to say that I may not heal with a stethoscope like my father, or build machines like my stepfather, but I, in a sense, build people. I can help them reconnect with their energy, to find clarity, confidence, the courage to take that leap, hence Leap Collective, into life and leadership, and the leadership that they were meant for. And so that's really what Leap Collective is all about: helping others move from living by default to leading by design. And so I guess when I look back on my journey, it's really about integrating all those chapters, where I came from, the lessons I learned, the influences that shaped me, and turning it into something that serves others. Because at the end of the day, when you finally learn to listen to your own voice, that's when I feel like everything starts to fall in place.
That's a
So
beautiful share. I love the way you talked about the connection you built with both dads,
yeah, yeah.
completely different paths, and obviously the great work that you're doing now that I wanted to ask you next. Can you tell us a little bit about the work that you do now?
Yeah, so I mean, I still coach people one on one. I love. Interesting enough, when I started this whole coaching path, I didn't know what was going to lead me. All I knew was I wanted to help people, right? And I got a lot of hypnotherapy clients, and it was a lot of them were referrals. I'm like, at that time, I didn't actually feel like hypnotherapy, I guess, didn't resonate with me. But I started working with them. I was like, look, let's just go with it. And I would get like feedback from these clients. I'm thinking, this thing works. So I started immersing myself more into it. And I actually really love hypnotherapy as one of the modalities that I use. And of course, breath work is something that I'm actually quite passionate about as well. I've had my own, massive transformations through those different modalities that I now use
Beautiful.
with my clients. So, and then recently my business partner, Jackie, who you had on your show, we started a business. We combined our talents. We both come from similar backgrounds. We combined our talents, and came up with Lead Collective. So really, our goal, our mission is to help those not just individuals, but business owners, team leaders, that sort of thing, find clarity and be able to work with their team, achieve their goals, particularly around sales. Helping them have the tools to to work with their teams in a much more conducive, clear direction, I guess. So yeah, we work with a lot of small business owners, those that are looking also looking to move into more leadership roles. and or those that are maybe transitioning, wanting to move out of corporate and start something on their own. Yeah, so those are generally the kind of people that we've been working with.
That's amazing. Jackie's been really busy now. I know she's got such a strong work ethic and she's so dedicated. She's a mum, she's a wife, and she's just such an amazing person. And
She
it's
is,
you two
yeah.
got look, the two of you. Like I know when I first met you at Coaching Connect when we were doing the course together,
Yeah.
I realized I've got to get these people on about.
Yeah, well, we both have had like obviously I think I mentioned I've got I have a technical background, but then somehow I ended up moving into a sales role, and also leading a team myself. So having that leadership experience, and that's something that we both have had experience in, and wanted to bring together, and bring forth our own programs, and coaching, and so uh, training through those the skills that we've acquired and developed over the years.
That's beautiful. Um, Marby, can you tell us a little bit about what you love most about the work that you're doing now?
Sum it up, I guess the what I love the most is seeing the transformation, witnessing transformations in people. So, things like helping someone develop the mindset to make massive shifts in their life. And that's what lights me up, because it's never just about changing a habit or hitting a goal. It's about watching someone remember who they really are. And really, I'm a firm believer that uh, we have something in us, to take us to where we want to go to we have the answers within us, I guess. And I guess that's what coaching is about. It's not so sort of telling people what to do or whatever, but it's drawing out those answers that are within, right? So those things that light us up inside. And it's just about, I think, what I said earlier is remembering who we really are. So when a client comes to me saying they're feeling stuck, uncertain, or disconnected, and then through a process they start to find clarity, confidence, and that sense of flow again. And you can literally see the light come back into the eyes. So that moment, that spark, it's the most rewarding feeling in the world. And when I started coaching, I used to hear about I used to hear people say, coaching is a very selfish profession, because, as you help others, you're also helping yourselves. And, I started to actually see in my professional work, and also in my personal work, if we're working with a client, it's like I can see similarities in what I may be facing with, or what a family member may be facing with, and vice versa, right? So it's really complementary. As I said, you help someone, a client, and you find that you're also helping yourself or someone close to you, in that sense. So yeah, it's I can't put a word to
You
it, but
say,
it's
would you
it's a
say,
rewarding feeling.
would it be fair to say, and like I'm seeing it from my eyes, and I'm just asking you this, it's self-rewarding in a sense of like not only
Yeah,
you helping the client, but you're evolving with the client. And as you said, it gives you a chance to self-reflect while that client is going through that process, and you're evolving with that client through that process.
yeah.
And inevitably, you naturally become better at what you do.
Absolutely, absolutely. Yeah. So it's like, in a sense, as you're coaching someone, you're also yeah, coaching and evolving yourself. So yeah, it's quite rewarding in that sense.
And tell me, Marby, what sort of plans do you have? I know you've been working on a lot of stuff with
Mhm.
Jackie. What sort of stuff have you guys got planned for the rest of the year and probably early next year that you're hoping to pursue?
Yeah, well, we've had such a exciting, I guess you could call it season. Just in the last 3 months alone, we've really started to put a lot of time and effort into bringing, Leap Collective together. It honestly feels like we've been building, what we've been building is just starting to really take shape and expand in all the right directions. So we recently presented at a masterclass that brought together representatives from some of the top 20 businesses across different industries in Australia, which it was such an incredible experience that it really showed us that it doesn't matter the type of industry, the foundations of communication, of mindset, of leadership, these are all universal. And following on from that, we're in the next week, we're actually next week, we're hosting a webinar, and it introduces one of our signature trainings. So where we talk about the 6 phase framework, we've called it Conflict to Clarity. And it's about mastering communication, learning to navigate difficult conversations with confidence, empathy, and authority. So, um, and because whether you're run a business, you lead a sales team, or manage people day to day, your success comes down to the quality of your conversations. And we teach leaders and professionals how to regulate their state, stay calm under pressure, and communicate in a way that turns tension into trust and conflict into collaboration. So if you're in sales, for instance, that means shifting from selling to solving, creating connections and understanding rather than resistance. So when we think about in the sense of leadership, it means cultivating teams that feel heard, respected, and motivated to move forward together. And so, yeah, that I guess that webinar sort of introduces us to that 1 day event, and then we have another 1 day event for around leadership, and it dives even deeper into emotional intelligence, influence, and leading through change. So really helping people move from that reactive style leadership to intentional, empowered leadership. And what else? We're about to open up enrollments for our next group coaching cohort, and that brings everything together: mindset, business strategy, performance inside a supportive community. And aside from that, also finalizing a series of breathwork events focusing on the nervous system regulation and emotional reset. So it perfectly complements the leadership because clarity starts from within. And we actually just got together. Jackie and I got together yesterday, so starting to map out our year ahead. So I've got some big plans, or we've got some big plans. We'll be looking at running a retreat experience as well, which combines all these elements: mindset, leadership, energy, breath work, into something that's really powerful, immersive, an immersive journey that's really designed to help people not just learn, or not just to have transformation, but actually live it. So yeah, lots of exciting things on the horizon, all anchored in the same mission, and essentially helping people communicate with clarity, lead with confidence, and you know take that leap into the next level of their growth.
The great thing to take from all this is I'm listening to you speak, and I've spoken to Jackie, obviously your business partner,
Yeah,
so I can see the connection there. Is
yeah,
mindfulness of being able to be flexible. And the thing that I got from it, and the thing I got from Connor Healy's coaching and stuff like that, is that to be a great leader doesn't matter where you are. Whether even for myself in the boxing gym,
mhm.
or could be in leading a group of men, you don't need to yell and scream.
No, no,
Don't need to
absolutely.
jump up and down and make a big fuss or big noise.
Yeah,
You just have to communicate the message, and you have to tap and engage and be able to build that connection with
yeah,
the
yeah,
audience or the people in the group of people that you're delivering to. And in doing so, it doesn't matter whether you scream it, talk it, but once you build that connection, it's just beautiful. It's beautiful. Like, I mean,
yeah,
listen to you talk, and I listen to Jackie talk, and I listen to Connor talk and stuff like that. And you don't have to yell and scream to get that message across, and the results speak for themselves with
yeah.
clients, oozing good health and leaving better, evolving, and as you said, they become unstuck.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Look, I've had experiences with bad leaders, and also some. I've also been very fortunate to have had good leaders as well. And I think those leaders, I consider them mentors in a sense. They're people that have helped me shape to be a better leader in the corporate world as well. So I see how they communicate, how they support their team, and it's those leaders that have those types of leaders were the ones that I had aspired to become. And what I've seen, when you experience what bad is and what good is, then you kind of like, what, I'm gonna go and be that type of leader, be the one that, I'm all about, empowering my team. And obviously what we teach is how to be that type of leader that is, when you have a team that is empowered and feel supported, your team works a lot better. They will actually, they're not going to get complaints. There's going to be less resistance to doing, things that you ask of them, because there is a mutual respect, and respect goes both ways. It's not just a top-down thing. You gotta be, show respect to your team to also get that respect back from them. So yeah.
It's all about building that connection, and in building that connection, they feel supported, they feel validated, and you got that harmony, that work environment that
Yeah.
is so positive. Tell me what, in your eyes, in just a few sentences, can you tell us what you believe makes a great leader?
What I believe it makes a great leader, I'd say, um, there's a lot of qualities, but I'd say when I look at myself as a leader, I'd say being grounded really helps. Being grounded means that you are, for me, it means that you are, you know, um, have the ability to control your state, or rather control your state. Yeah. So be on top, be able to, control your state, to um, see, rather than be reactive. You kind of like take things, see things from, take a step back, see things, and what's going on, and be able to listen to others, not just tell them what, listening to your team so that they feel heard, um, and being able to provide them the right guidance and direction.
I'm gonna tap on something here, and I don't want to get too personal, but
Mhm,
I'm just gonna share something in there because something hit the switch. I remember when I was running my gym, as you know, I've just sold the gym 2 weeks
mhm,
ago after 18 years of being in business in that one particular gym. It's been 25 years straight that I've
mhm,
owned gyms, but this particular gym I've owned for 18 years, and I had this one day I remember really well. And you talk about mindfulness
mhm,
and being grounded and understanding your environment and what's going on. And although I believe that we all have lots of work to do, and I'm always evolving,
mhm,
and there's lots of room there. I remember a female instructor coming in, and it was that time of the month that she just wasn't feeling well. She wasn't up to it. And you're supposed to take the girls' boxing class.
mhm,
And I said, no worries, you just stay behind the counter. And I knew, and I just didn't
mhm,
say anything. I said, just stay behind the counter. Today, I'm going to take the class. Just
yeah,
give you a little break. Can you just check everybody in? And I'll do the class, give you a little bit of a break, still get paid for it, just sit behind the counter
yeah,
and I'll do the job. And that was it. And sometimes that's all it takes. And when she left, she hugged me. She said, thank you. I appreciate it. And without even having to say anything, she knew I knew what was going on.
yeah.
And it doesn't make me a great leader or anything, but it taught me to read the play a little bit better. Sometimes I think we get so caught up, and
Mhm,
like rather than being proactive, we start to be active and we just kind of
yeah,
react.
yeah, yeah, exactly, exactly. And I think that, for me, I feel like, having that sense of groundedness allows you to be able to communicate things, and for you, that allow you to actually have a sense of awareness, to understand that, okay, she's, if I take the class for her, this will sort of give her time to, just do what she needs, still get paid for it, and so on. So I think, yeah, yeah, I was gonna add to that. So being grounded, I think that really helps you bring an awareness. I think, if I can think about something that, I remember a point where, I was getting a lot of pressure from the top down, to me, and right. And the one thing I was acutely aware of was I did not want to pass on that same amount of pressure to my team. So kind of wanted to protect my team in that sense. But I remember, and I have a really good relationship. I had a really good relationship with my team, and I remember one time, it was such a stressful day, and I sent a response. It was short and sharp, not my usual friendly tone and supportive tone, but it uh it wasn't until, I realized, oh, that came out the wrong way. I actually reached out to that person. I said, look, hey, I'm sorry if this came out the wrong way. And he really appreciated that. He's like, Oh, I'm so glad. I'm so glad you told me that. I thought I had done something wrong, and I thought it was strange because that's not you, But it's having that awareness and also owning up to owning up to your stuff, to regardless of how bad it may be. I think that helps in gaining respect from your team. Yeah, it's all about um effective communication.
Yes, yes,
Yeah.
and being able to see that, and
Mm.
obviously, strengthens your bonds together and
Yeah,
that
yeah.
connection. Tell me, Marvi, before we head off, I know there's a lot of people out there that would
Yeah.
like to know a little bit more about the great work that you do. And if they want to get in contact with you, how do they, can you just give us to let us know about your LinkedIn address, your Facebook, your Instagram, your social media,
Yep.
a website or a email or a phone number or something that people can
Yep.
contact you on to learn a little bit more about all that you do?
Absolutely, absolutely. Well, firstly, you can reach us at hello@leapcollective.com.au. Now, I personally monitor that mailbox, so I will respond. And you can also find us on LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram. Just search for Leap Collective, and you'll be able to find us on there. The website, leapcollective.com.au, it's undergoing a bit of a overhaul at the moment. It will be up very shortly. But yeah, that is the address, leapcollective.com.au.
Amazing. Well, there you go, everybody. Great to catch up with you, Marvi, and chop it up, talk about all that you've been up to. And I can't wait to catch up with you in person next time
Yeah.
we're at the Connor Healy or Cullum Coaching Connect courses. I've been meaning to hop on board on the weekly Zooms and that, which I'm going to get around to. I've got to talk to Connor first, but thank you for joining us and taking the time out from your busy schedules to share your journey and all the great work that you're doing.
No, thank you so much, my dad, for having me. Yeah, like I'd be absolutely thrilled to catch up with you in person as well. Like both Jack and I, we can, yeah, you're actually not too far away
Well, I'm gonna
anyways.
I'm gonna drive over and have some lunch with you sometime up at the North Shore.
Yeah.
But to everybody watching this, I just want you to know that in the next 2 weeks, I'm heading out to New Zealand. I'm going to spend some time there with my brother and his family. His wife just gave birth to a baby girl, and I want to pay my respects and fly over there. There's another reason that I'm going over there, which has been really special to me. Over the past 25 years, I've dedicated my life to boxing and have been fortunate enough to win two world titles at Masters, which is over 40s. And as a result, I've been inducted by the WBF World Boxing Foundation into the Masters Boxing Hall of Fame. And I'm going to be flying to New Zealand, and that's where I'm going to be inducted on a fight night and on an event on that particular night. So I'm really looking forward to that. I'm stoked. I think sometimes we get to a stage in our life where leaving a legacy and living healthy is probably most important for all of us when you get to my age. And I'm 55 years young, but I'm not too old, but I'm no spring chicken. But I thought I'd share that with you. I wanted to let you know that I'm going to be off for 2 weeks and then I'm going to resume everything again. I've got so much to look forward to and to share with you, including interviewed with world-renowned surfer Richard Cram, Bill Power, Phil Deadly, and so many other great guests. Take care. Have an amazing day from Marvi and I here in Bondi Beach, Sydney, Australia, and we'll see you next time.
Thanks, my dad, and congratulations.